Access to the public airways is primarily a state law issue. The revisions that were done in terms of the cable access agreement were done in Sacramento as opposed to Washington, D.C. So it is primarily a state level issue. My personal perspective is that this is a tremendous community service and one that we should fight for and one that we should protect. I think if citizens don't get the ability to hear what's going on in their local community, and it's not just shows like this, it's also hearing about what's happening at the City Council and at the County Board of Supervisors, understanding what's going on at the Parks Commission and the Planning Commission. This is how citizens track how their local elected officials are doing. And if we let that slip out of our fingers, we've lost a tremendous local community asset. And so I think it's something we need to fight for at every level. Although it's primarily a state level issue, it's something that I would also be pushing for at the federal level to make sure that we protect this treasure, community treasure.
Thank you. Marie, same question.
I agree. I think that cable access at the public level is an important issue. And this program, as Tim pointed out, is a result of public access. And, you know, I'd like to tie this back to Proposition 15, which is the fair elections. And fair elections, the idea of fair elections is to make your public legislatures accountable to the people. And it's hard to be accountable to the people when you're collecting money from big companies. And I think that by making the legislatures more accountable to the people, that they would then be in favor of laws that allow public access, that allow the public more access to the airways and to other institutions as well. So I think it comes back to public financing and making your legislatures accountable to the public and accountable to you and me.
Thank you. Marie, we'll start with you. What in your background makes you more qualified than the others to serve the people of the 24th Congressional District?
I think that my background in education makes me more qualified. I have a background in both education and science. I said at the beginning that I think that education is one of the top priorities in this nation, and I think that we need folks at the national level who understand education so that we do not get legislation such as No Child Left Behind. I don't think that there's anybody today that believes that this was a good piece of legislation. My background in science, I think, is important in terms of the environment. I truly believe that the environment needs to be one of the top priorities in this country. I think that we're past the point where we can go back to the way things were. I think that we really need to get environmental policies on the radar and get good policy passed. We need folks that understand science, folks that can help to develop good legislation, and I have that background. In addition, service to community. I have served this community for the past 23 years. I've raised 2 daughters in this community. My daughters have been through the public schools. I understand the needs of this community, and whether I'm elected or not, I will continue to serve this community. But it is service to the community that I think sets me apart from the other candidates.
Thank you. Tim, same question.
We need to create jobs, jumpstart our economy, improve education, and protect our environment. I was an economics major in college. I have a law degree from the University of Minnesota Law School. And I'm a small businessman. in terms of jump-starting our economy, in terms of creating jobs, more so than any other candidate in this race, I understand that. As I mentioned earlier, I'm in touch on a daily basis with individuals who are struggling because of the current economic climate. As someone with a law degree, I understand what it takes to pass laws. I understand what it takes in terms of the interpretation of laws. A member of Congress is a lawmaker, first and foremost. And it's a very helpful precursor to that service to understand how those laws are going to be interpreted once they are enacted. My law degree gives me an advantage in that regards. In terms of education, I feel very fortunate to have the endorsement of the California Teachers Association. I'm a father of a 7-year-old who's in first grade at the local Madronia Elementary School. I understand the issues. I understand the issues of education. I understand them very well firsthand. As a father here in Thousand Oaks. In terms of the environment, protecting our environment, I'm fortunate to be the candidate with the endorsement of the Sierra Club and of the California League of Conservation Voters. I am the statewide elected chair of the Environmental Caucus of the California Democratic Party. I've not just talked the environment, I've lived it, I've breathed it, and I've worked very, very hard in protecting our environment. I have a list of accomplishments. I encourage you to go to my website and take a look at the environmental background that I have. And I think the background that I have and the accomplishments that I have in terms of protecting our environment, in terms of education, and in terms of the economy set me apart from the other candidates in this race.
Thank you. Okay, Tim, let's start with you on this one. With job creation foremost on voters' minds, what specifically would you do to bring jobs to the 24th District and to Southern California as a whole?
We're fortunate that we live in paradise. We're all here not because it's the least expensive place in the country to live. We're here because we love this quality of life. We pay a premium to live here in paradise. There are certain jobs that make sense for here. We need to be retooling our economy to create the green economy, and that can happen right here. Solar power, wind power, getting us off of our foreign oil addiction by creating alternative energy sources make perfect sense for Southern California. Small-scale electricity generation, solar-powered rooftops make perfect sense for Southern California. Putting people to work in their local communities, as I mentioned earlier, putting people to work to rebuild our local schools makes perfect sense here. I would be a zealous advocate for creating jobs right here in the 24th Congressional District. I would certainly be working hard to not vote against a stimulus package, as Congressman Gallagly has, but to support a stimulus package and to make sure that Ventura and Santa Barbara County are very well represented in that stimulus package, to create alternative transportation right here in our community, to make sure that we're rebuilding our infrastructure so that we're prepared to compete in the next century, to make sure that our educational system is improved, to make sure that we're investing in stem cell research to find the cure for the next disease. We're fortunate we're within a stone's throw here of Amgen. We're within a stone's throw of a technological corridor where we're creating clean and green jobs in a way that makes sense for this community. This community is different than others. This community, people are living here because of the quality of life. We need to be creating an economy that reflects that difference with many other parts of the country. And that's what I would be working very hard each and every day as your member of Congress to do.
Thank you. Marie, same question.
So the question is,